Hey everyone, my name is Michelle. I'm a therapist in the Seattle, Washington area with my practice, Next Chapter Counseling. I got a question from someone this week who asked me, why do I always want to be in a relationship with someone who is crazy? Now, I don't know what exactly they mean by this word crazy. You could replace that probably with lots of other terms, maybe like unstable, unreliable, somebody who's maybe disorganized, chaotic, whatever it is. But I think this is a good question to ask and shows that this person is working to develop some kind of self awareness of recognizing their patterns with choosing relationship partners. Whether we realize it or not, lots of us have a pattern with who we pick to be in a relationship with. I answered this in a previous video a long time ago when someone was asking, like, why am I attracted to bad boys? That's a type, right? And most of us have a type, someone that we tend to gravitate or be attracted to. Sometimes this may be healthy, sometimes this may be unhealthy. And this person seems to realize that they've been attracted to people who may not be the healthiest choice of partners, and they're wanting to work on that. So, kudos to you. And to answer that question about why this happens, I really think there are two main reasons. And so these reasons are kind of broad, like umbrella type of reasons that there could be lots more specificity underneath each one of these, but I'm going to talk about each one briefly. So, the first reason for why people can be attracted to people that are crazy, or again, people who are kind of chaotic or unstable in certain ways, is maybe because that's what you grew up with. For better or worse, we tend to be attracted to things that are familiar to us, things that we know. There's that expression out there that it's better to trust the devil you know than the devil you don't. And I think that really applies here, is that we are likely to be attracted to people that seem familiar to us in some way, even if that familiarity is really unhealthy. If you grew up in a home with parents who you couldn't rely on, if you grew up in a home that had a lot of chaos and change, and maybe had some really unhealthy communication like yelling or things like that, when you see that in a partner, something within you is going to be like, oh, I know what this is. This feels familiar. I maybe know how to handle this. Even if I don't like it, I know what to do with this. So that may be the first reason for why potentially is, if you grew up in chaos, you're going to maybe naturally, outside of your conscious awareness, be attracted to that in a partner because something about it feels familiar. So that's reason number one. Reason number two goes completely the opposite way. So if I just said reason number one and you're like, nope, that doesn't fit for me at all. I actually grew up in a family that was very stable, maybe almost too stable. Like if you grew up in a family that was really emotionally restrictive, or a family that was very restrained, almost too organized, too put together, then this may actually be another reason why you would be attracted to somebody who is so unlike that. Because sometimes we swing very much the other way. Rather than going towards people that are familiar to us, we go to people who are very different than us. The saying that goes along with this is opposites attract. Two words, we all have heard them before. Very familiar, but this is part of it, is because we typically have something within us that has this desire to maybe be a little bit different. Like if you growing up when you were younger, if you were always the good kid who was well behaved, quiet, calm, got good grades, never rebelled, there may be a part of you that wants to rebel. And what better way to do that than to find someone who's already doing it so that you can become part of their world and get to experience that a little bit. So this happens sometimes as well, that we're attracted to people who are very different from us because they have the possibility to offer our lives a little bit of balance. You probably know at least one couple in your life who may be like this, where maybe it's one partner is like really, really quiet and the other partner is really, really chatty. And you're going, gosh, they're so different. How do they make this work? Well, that's exactly how they balance each other out. Now, what's really important is that you also want to make sure, again, that you're finding a partner who is healthy for you. And sometimes, if you're being attracted to somebody who has a lot of instability in their lives, maybe has some untreated mental health stuff going on, whatever it is, yes, that may give you a taste of what you're looking for. But it actually, now that I think about it, might give you far more than a taste, more than you bargained for. And it may wind up being really unhealthy, and you might be with somebody who pushes you far more outside your comfort zone than you bargained for and is too different from you, and I'll keep going back to it, is unhealthy. And so that may be a second possibility for what might be going on here, is if you are typically very straight-laced, the rule follower, if that really applies to you, you may be unconsciously looking for a way to break out of that somehow. And finding a partner who doesn't fit any of those qualities is one way to do that. So I encourage you to take a look at if one of those reasons might apply to you. There could, of course, be many other reasons, but if this has become a pattern that you're now aware of, look to see if maybe it's because you're replicating some of your experiences from childhood, or see if it may be because you're looking for a whole new experience that you've never had before, and you're hoping that these unstable, crazy partners might be able to give you that experience. And above all, I really recommend that if you're not already working with a therapist, this is a fantastic issue to bring to therapy, to talk about with your therapist, to go into some specific details about who you are, your life circumstances, and how you grew up, and to see what that therapist may have to offer you as for why you may be choosing this, and also how you can break out of it, and to help you navigate how it might feel to date people who don't fall into your typical type or pattern that you're normally attracted to. If you have a question for me about love or relationships, send me an email, nextchapter.michelle@gmail.com. Thanks, everyone.